This typhoon short summary is discussing Typhoon Betty, also known as Edang or Eding in the Philippines because they like to name things differently, and I don't like it still, of 1964. Typhoon Betty would first be detected on July 1st. So, still by this time, Winnie was still doing its thing around Guangdong Province, China, and around the Gulf of Tonkin. She would be a typhoon by the end of July 2nd, and in her first few hours as a typhoon, she had an eye staggeringly 75 kilometers wide. That is quite the large eye. Her intensification would stall around the Ryukyu Islands, if I'm not mistaken, at 115 miles per hour. This is Category 3 equivalents. And she would have a peak width of 225 miles wide at this time. Her eye would drag over South Miyakojima on American Independence Day, July 4th, and she would then intensify further on July 5th to winds of 125 miles per hour. She would weaken from here on out, go within 200 miles of the Shanghai coast, impacting Shanghai, although not making landfall on Shanghai, and would continue weakening and finally dissipate on July 7th, not making landfall as any sort of storm except for just a low pressure on Korea. I was unfortunately not able to find very much information on the impacts of Betty for the most part. Miyakojima reported 4.9 inches of rain, and the Ryukyu Islands did suffer some damage. But I was interested in the effects on Shanghai. However, I was not able to find any impacts on Shanghai, and I had a primary source on Betty, which is very weird. You would think that you would think that damage from a typhoon would be measured even if it didn't make landfall in that area, but I guess not. The West Pacific will continue to be weird and a mystery to me. We are moving on from me being angry about not having data. Data. Betty would be one of two this season to strike Shanghai, strike in quotes because she did not make landfall. And you can technically say that she never made landfall, although her eye going over Miyakojima is a landfall in my eyes. She would be one of 10 major hurricane equivalents in the 64 typhoon season. Major hurricane, as you will probably always hear me say, is category 3 and above strength. And unfortunately, that is all that I have for Betty. I know, I really short one this time. I apologize for that. But I hope you all learned something. And we are done with the second typhoon, notable typhoon of the 64 typhoon season. Thank you all so much for watching again, and I will see you in the next video.